Okay, so hi everyone, and welcome to this event. So this event is going to be titled "Building a Bot for WhatsApp using Python and Flask." I'm really excited to be moderating this event. So my name is Hala. I'm a computer engineering student, so I'm still an undergraduate, and I'm a volunteer for Women Who Code Python. Mridu is hosting this event. She has originally given another event with Women Who Code Python, so I'm not sure if you caught her last time. She gave me building REST APIs with Python, and she's a software engineer. So just a little about Women Who Code and our mission before we can get started with the actual event. So our mission in general is to inspire women to excel in technology careers. Our vision is a world where women are representative as technical executives, founders, VCs, board members, and software engineers. So this is essentially our goal and our vision for this major organization that we're a part of. The target in general, so the target audience is engineers, maybe with around 2 or more years of experience. So people, sort of early in their careers, but not, just completely inexperienced. Um, the code of conduct, so this is important. The code of conduct, Women Who Code is an inclusive community. So this is something to keep in mind. We are inclusive and we support everyone regardless of gender identity, expression, sexual orientation, physical appearance, body size, race, and so on. This is all. We also do not tolerate harassment from the members in any way, shape, or form. So um, yeah. So without further ado, let's just get started.
Hello everyone.
Would you
Should
like
I
me to
start?
stop sharing? Yes, you can start.
Yeah, I'll just share my screen.
Okay.
Just a second, I'll open my slides. They are not yet open. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
All right. Uh, Hello everyone. I am just a second. Uh, are the slides visible or are the this Zoom facing?
Yes. You're presenting your slides. We can see.
All right. Yeah. So, without any further delay, hello everyone. I am Ridu Bhatnagar, and the topic of my session today is building a conversational bot for WhatsApp. And before we go ahead with the topic, I would like to introduce myself. So, I am a software engineer by profession. I have somewhere around 2+ years of experience. And when I'm not programming, I enjoy giving talks at various Python meetups and conferences. And that is what I have been doing so far in the lockdown. So, and on like, and usually I code in Python, and it's Python web frameworks, and various Python libraries, etc. So the bot that we'll be talking about today was one of the recent side projects that I ended up doing on one of the weekends. So moving ahead, we'll learn about that. So here is the bot that I had built, and the name of the bot, I gave it the name as vocab bot. So the vocab bot is basically a vocabulary bot. As you can see on your left hand side, this is the bot, and it is doing some simple things like whenever the user whenever the user types anything inside of the chat box here, uh, the bot is replying with a message. And there are 4 features of the bot. uh, you can query and ask the bot word definition. You can ask about the synonyms of the word. You can ask about the antonyms for a given word, and you can ask for the examples. And all you have to do is just query the bot. It will give you the results. So this was the weekend project that I had built, and for building the same, I had used certain things. So we learn what all things that are needed. So you need a Python installed on your system, and maybe greater than Python version 3.6, as three great like 3 point like greater than version 3.6. Also recently the support for 3.5 version has also got ended in Python, so it is good to work on latest stable version. So anything beyond 3.6 works. And then we have Flask. So Flask is basically a Python framework that is used. And why are we using this? You will get to know this in the upcoming slides. And then there is something named as nggrok. Now, what is this nggrok? So nggrok we are using so that we can test our application. We have two devices. Your WhatsApp is running on your mobile phone while your code is present on your laptop. So there are two different devices, and there has to be a way from which the communication is taking place between your mobile phone and the laptop. So that is why you need nggrok. And also I'll just show you how this nggrok can be installed. So nggrok is not a Python utility. Here is the website of nggrok. You can just search it on Google and install nggrok on your system based on the operating system you are on. And it is like this works on the subscription model. So while you are just building the side project, you can just take up the free version of it. And this is how nggrok is. And for downloading, as you can see, if you go here, yeah. So there are options for downloading, and you can just download wherever you want. So we'll need nggrok basically for ngrok for basically testing the application. And then an important utility is your mobile phone with an active number and WhatsApp installed on it. And you will also be needing your Twilio account. So either you can use the Twilio link that I am showing you here. This is a Twilio referral link that is present here. So in case you use my link, I will be getting certain credits on Twilio so that I can build more of the projects. And you can just click on the link. I'll be sharing, or I'll also be sharing the slides after the presentation is over. So you can either use my link and just do the sign up on the website, or other way to go about it is just enter twilio.com. And if you enter twilio.com, on the left hand side again, you will see that sign up and start building. So when you click on sign up and start building, this would allow you to create the account on Twilio. The process of creating the account and everything is free of cost. And also when you initially create your account, Twilio gives you certain free credits, and those free credits can be used for building up your applications. Otherwise, once your all the free credits are get ended, then these APIs are chargeable APIs. So Twilio charges something for every time that you query the Twilio API. So all these things you need to keep in mind while building the applications, so that you don't get charged for doing the same. So the next step is, once you have signed up and created the account, you need to go on WhatsApp. So WhatsApp console is present. Okay, so now you would not be able to see because I have not logged in into my account, and also I cannot demonstrate this because this cannot be demonstrated because Twilio has certain secret keys that it assigns for every account. So those secret keys cannot be shown to public, and while you are building your application, you also need to keep in mind to not show any of the secret credentials. So remember these things when you push your code onto GitHub as well. Okay, so here is a screenshot of how that screen is going to look like. So this is the next step. Once you log in, you need to search where is WhatsApp, and then select what then you have to search WhatsApp sandbox. So once you have searched for that, your screen will appear like this, and here is the mobile number. So you will see one mobile number. Every account can have a different mobile number. It is not necessary that this same number comes on your account as well. So you need to save this mobile number on your mobile phone, and then this is the secret code. So once you save this phone number on your mobile phone, then just go onto your WhatsApp and check whether this contact is coming on WhatsApp or not. If the contact is coming like all other like all your other WhatsApp contacts, then just you can send the code. Join and then you can send your code. This is a secret code. So this is again something that cannot be publicly shown. And you need to be extra careful with all of these is because if someone ends up misusing it, you will be getting charged for it. So be a little careful with doing this. And we have already covered this, that you need to save the number in the contacts. And then you will have vocab bot or okay, so the name that will be displayed would be the name using which you have saved your contact. So I saved that contact with the name vocab bot. You can save with anything of your choice. So this was the 0th step, and we talked about installations. And now my next question is that is there any doubt, or do I need to explain something else? Are there any questions? I cannot see the chat just.
Someone, do you want me to help you with the questions? Someone is asking, do we need to know Flask properly for doing this?
Okay, so Flask is a prerequisite, but you don't need to know Flask in depth. You need very basic Flask. So I'll be explaining that in a short while.
Okay, and we have another question. What is the use of the Twilio, what you're using?
So Twilio API is used for accessing WhatsApp. What is the way that you will be able to WhatsApp? At the end of the day, we are trying to make two connections here. You are trying to connect your application with WhatsApp. Communication is happening over WhatsApp. So we need Twilio WhatsApp API for this, and we will be needing Twilio response API. So here when you see, we are sending strings here. We are just sending messages here. So all these messages need to be, all these messages are understood by Twilio at their end. So all of this is a result of Twilio's API. That is why we are able to smoothly send the messages and get the messages back in a human readable way. So for reading these messages, you don't have to be a developer. These are just English messages that you are seeing here. So it is all of this is because of Twilio's API that we are using. Also, if you notice that on the left, on the image that is coming on the vocab bot, this image is Twilio's logo. This is not my image, or this is not a personalized image that is coming. The default is Twilio's logo. So that I hope that is clear now.
Okay, thank you for answering. There are a couple more questions. So someone's asking whether the PowerPoint slides will be uploaded and where. So
yeah, all those I'll be sharing across after the session.
Okay. And someone else is asking, will this meeting be uploaded on YouTube? And we already answered that, yes, it will, on the Women Who Code Python YouTube. Another question, do we have any other options for Twilio as they start charging after the free credits are ended? So,
So mostly all these platforms are communication platforms. That is why these are chargeable. So they'll charge you for every request. And I'm not sure who all are providing WhatsApp API, but mostly WhatsApp API is used for business purposes. So they don't want the APIs to be misused. That is another reason that each of the each of the APIs are paid.
yes. Okay, thank you. Someone asked, what are other APIs like Twilio? So if there are any alternatives.
Alternatives to Twilio. So for communication purposes, there are a lot of APIs and lot of companies doing that. But I'm not very sure if there is any other company that is also providing an API for communicating with WhatsApp.
Okay.
So for SMS, there are multiple companies that are doing. For emails, there are companies you can send emails using APIs. But for WhatsApp, there are limited companies doing that. And
Okay.
WhatsApp also WhatsApp has its own developer API. But the thing is, WhatsApp developer so that API is chargeable in itself. So first you need to own a business, and then only you can use that WhatsApp API. It cannot be directly used by a developer. So it is not something like the APIs that Facebook and Twitter provides that, okay, you can use our API for building the projects. WhatsApp API is for commercial purposes. So using Twilio is a way that you can just play around with the APIs and build these utility applications.
Yeah, okay. So that's nice. It's a very nice library. So more questions. And ngrok is linked between the phone and Python with a question mark. So someone is asking
Yes,
that.
yes. So ngrok is basically helping us making the connection between the two devices. We need something to test our application. See, whenever you run an application on the laptop, that is your local host, right? And as long as your application is a web application, we are able to test the web application using localhost. At the moment, you need to keep in mind that our application, this bot, is not a web application. We are using WhatsApp for it, and your WhatsApp is installed on your mobile phone. It is not present on the laptop. So we cannot use localhost here anymore. So ngrok or nggrok, whatever you call it, that is helping you in making that connection. And how that will happen, we'll be seeing at the end that how it is going to help us in testing the application.
Okay. Another follow-up question on ngrok. Someone said when ngrok is required, is it during deploying to the sandbox?
Yes.
Okay. There's a question for me. So how do I volunteer for Women Who Code events being a student? So I believe I applied on the Women Who Code website, and I selected the tracks that I was interested in, and Python was one of those tracks. And then someone got back to me through email, and then I attended an onboarding session for the volunteering. So I believe that's how it happened. Question for you, Mridu. Do you enter your own vocab data, or could it be used for translations as well as a dictionary?
Do you enter your own vocab data so it could be used for translations as well as a dictionary? I didn't
Yeah.
quite understand the question. What do you exactly mean? Can you break the question down?
Uh, so Lucy asked this question. So Lucy, if you can hear us, can you just break down your question more? So you're asking if the vocab data, is it your own data or perhaps
Okay.
it's yeah.
So
Yeah,
the
she followed
definition.
up. Yeah, she
The
said where. Sorry,
all
where
right.
do they come from? So can she enter her own definition?
Right. So you cannot enter your own definition. All the data for the vocabulary bot is coming from a different API. So for this, I have used, for building this and getting the data for the vocabulary bot, I have used one of the Merriam-Webster's API. You might have heard the dictionary is pretty famous, Webster's dictionary. So they have their API available, and I have used the API to build the bot. So that is where the data is coming from. So you cannot save your own definitions in. You can only ask questions to the bot.
Okay. So let's continue. You want to continue with the slides for the event? And we'll take more questions after.
Yeah. Also, a lot of things would get clear once I move ahead with the presentation. I'll be covering everything, that how you can get data, what you can use, and what is the way forward after attending the session, what you can do with this. So the next step is to create a Python virtual environment. Now I'll just give a brief introduction that why do we need a virtual environment. So there are two ways of installing external libraries in Python. One way is that you directly do a pip install and install everything on your system, all the libraries on your system. So that is something that you call as global installation. You are installing all the packages globally. Another way of doing it is creating separate isolated environments particular to each of your projects. The good practice or the best practice of installing packages is by creating the virtual environment. And virtual environment helps so that whenever two of your projects are using the same package but different versions of it, there is no conflict between them. So there can be a scenario where one of your projects is using Python pandas version 0.21 and the another project is using 0.22. So in this case, if the installation is global, then it gets confusing for the interpreter to know that what version of the module needs to be used. So that is why global installation is not a good way of doing things, and that is why you need isolated environment, and that is the purpose of creating the virtual environment. And creating the virtual environment, so based on the operating system, the commands are different. So the commands that you see on the screen are for Mac OS or Linux users. So mkdir command is basically for creating the directory, and here we are creating the directory with the name WhatsApp bot, and then we'll have to change the directory. So for changing the directory, it is cd, and then I move inside of the directory that we created, and then you need to create the virtual environment. So Python -n when WhatsApp bot is the step for creating the virtual environment. This is the name of the virtual environment, and when is the package name. You also will have to make sure that when is already installed on your system. And to activate the virtual environment, the next step is you write the name of your virtual environment, then bin followed by activate. Now to know whether the environment has got activated or not, you will have to, like you can see on your interpreter, it's on your shell itself, that on the left hand side, it comes as WhatsApp bot. And you need to do pip install, and then you can just, install the required packages. So one important one is Twilio, and then after installing Twilio, you need to install Flask. And request and python.env depends on what application you are trying to build. If you are trying to send a static message with Python and Flask, then you don't need request module and python.env as well. But if external APIs are used and there are secret keys involved in your application, then you will have to use request and python.env both. So request is a third-party library in Python, and it is used for it is used for integrating different APIs. And request is basically the HTTP library, and Python.n is basically used for saving all your secret keys. So secret keys should not be directly visible to others, as I have been repeating this statement multiple times. So this is also one of the best practices. You don't have to show your secret key directly in your source code, right? So that is why we use python.n package, and this helps you hide the package. This helps you hide the secret keys. So that is the purpose of all the installations that we are doing. So all this will change based on the application that you are building. And now similarly, these are the steps for Windows user. MD is used for creating the directory. CD is used for changing the directory. The command for creating the virtual environment is same, and the activation command is different. So whenever you have to activate the virtual environment, you need to write the name of the virtual environment followed by scripts and then activate. And then you need to install the required packages. Uh, so we have covered two steps so far. One was like what exactly like we learned about what exactly is meant by creating a bot for WhatsApp, and what all things we need to install, and how to create the virtual environment and have all the dependencies installed. So now up till here, everything is installed. Next step is, how do you create a Flask chatbot service out of it? So we'll just be creating a hello world application in Flask. You don't have to worry about it even if you don't know Flask. So I'll be covering that up. Any questions so far?
Someone is asking, they asked previously, what exactly bun activate will do. So I assume they mean bin.
Uh, Run activate, sorry.
Uh, it says bun, so I'm guessing there's a typo.
Okay. So activate command is for activating the virtual environment, as I said, and virtual environment is an isolated environment that gets created on your system. So that is just for activation. If you don't activate your virtual environment, then you would be in the global environment itself. So you need to just activate the virtual environment so that you are using your newly created isolated environment. Also, for knowing more on this, you can have a look at the documentation of virtual environment if this is a new concept for you. Or another resource to learn the same can be the Real Python blogs. So Real Python has really good beginner friendly material on it, and you can just search on their platform virtual environment, and you will find a detailed write up on the same.
Okay, sounds good. I don't think there's any other questions specifically about what you just explained, so we
All
can
right.
continue.
Sure.
Just 1 second. Someone asked if they're gonna get a recording. There will be a recording on the YouTube for Women Who Code Python. That will come up in 2 days. And someone asked in the chat box right now, can she please repeat the last thing? So
Yeah,
the
so I
last
was
point.
saying that if you are unfamiliar with the concept of virtual environment, and you are interested in exploring the topic virtual environment in detail, you can check out the Python documentation for the same. And if not the documentation, if you feel what documentations are boring, then you can also check out a Real Python tutorial on the same. So Real Python has detailed tutorials, so you can read up. First you can search Real Python virtual environment, and then you will get a write up and a detailed blog on the same, which you can read and learn from.
Okay, thank you. There's no other questions, so we can continue.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so the next step is how you will create the Flask chatbot service. I have been repeating that we need to use Flask, and we are trying to use Flask. So there is a purpose behind using Flask, right? We cannot just, if you are thinking that what is the, why do we need Flask and why this cannot be done using simply Python script? The reason is, as I had repeated earlier, WhatsApp is not installed on your laptop. WhatsApp is not there on your laptop. Secondly, this application, your WhatsApp is running on your mobile phone. So we need server that keeps on running. There should be something that is continuously running. That is why we need a server. So what Flask is doing is it is providing us a web server that is running, and here we can ask the queries to Flask. So that is the purpose behind using the minimalistic web application. And also, if you are confused that why Flask and why not Django, so there is no need of using Django. I mean, I am not creating a website or I am not doing anything very specific to the web that I need Django. I needed very simple thing, and it is unnecessary to get lot of pre-built in code that Django provides. So this is a small application and Flask will work here. So now the next step is, as you have already installed Flask, so you need to instantiate the Flask class, and app is the object that gets created. And then you need to create an endpoint, and I have named my endpoint as hello world, as this is a small hello world kind of application. And then I'm sending a post request. The method is post. So there are multiple methods that can be that are present in APIs when we deal with APIs. One is get method, another is post method, then you have delete method, then you have put method. So we talked about the 101 in the previous session that I took, but if you are a newcomer and you are attending this session, so the brief idea is get helps you in fetching all the data. So if you have to fetch existing data, you send get request. If you have to create something, if you have to create something new, then you send post request. If you have to update something, then you send put request. And if you have to delete something, then there is delete request that can be sent. And all these are different methods. So here we are using the post method. So this is the basic skeleton of your application. And then on line number 8, I am doing if name is equal to main. This is double equal to, this is not the assignment operator, and it appears to be an assignment operator because there is a screenshot and I'm using the code snippet. But this is double equal to, and there is no typo here. And then we are doing app.run. So this is the basic skeleton of your application that is present here. So this endpoint is also referred to as a webhook, so you don't need to get confused. It is one and the same thing. And also you can change the names based on your convenience, based on the application that you are trying to build. So nothing is fixed here. It depends really on what idea you are working on. And now, as we are not building the vocabulary bot, this is simple hello world application that we are trying to build. So here, if you are trying, you send a message hello from, if you send a message hello on WhatsApp, then the bot will reply you with then the bot will reply you with a static message. That is what we are trying to create. So the next step is you fetch the message that the user is sending. So this request method is present in Flask itself. So here I have missed out writing. You need to do comma request. So this request is present in the Flask library itself. And then you do request dot values dot get. We are fetching something, so that's why we are doing get. And then there is a key body. So this body key is automatically created. This body is already present in the Twilio request. So what we are sending is a string message, but the way Twilio accepts the request is an XML format. So that is why we need the body keyword here. And then I'm converting everything to a lowercase. So here you can imagine that after doing after doing all the cleanup, incoming message will have a string. So it will have the message that you send. If you send hello on WhatsApp, then incoming message will have the word hello. Now, another API that Twilio has is TweeML API. So you can search for the API TweeML, and also Twilio has very good documentation for each of these APIs. So whenever you are building something, you can just have a look and check their APIs. So just a second. Yeah. So Twilio, we are doing it in Python. So you can just go and check out Python. And then it has various ways in which you can send the message and do the things that you require. So the documentation is very extensive. So you will actually have to go and search for things inside of their documentation. So I'll not be pointing out to the exact location, as that would take time. So you can just search. The documentation is pretty comprehensive. While I was building my bot, I also went through the documentation to check out things. So messaging response is a class that is a part of Twilio. So it is already present in Twilio, and then there is response.message. So response.message is also a built-in Twilio. Message is a built-in Twilio method, and this response is a object. Messaging response is a class. So then all you have to do is response.message. Now whatever will be your message, you have to just type the string inside of the message. So see, if the incoming message format, if you are just sending hi, the output message is going to be hello, hi. This is pretty meaningless, but this is just to simplify so that you are able to understand what is happening. See, message.body hello plus incoming message. So if my incoming message was hi, my output is going to be hello followed by hi. And I'm just trying to simplify things for you. That vocabulary bot is a different case, and that will require some prerequisite knowledge. So these are just the basics. So before you send across dynamic content from the bot, first try sending some static messages from the bot. And then here we are doing return and then the response. And the internally what is happening is in Twilio is this. It is an XML response. It is an XML format. So response is working as a key, message is a key, body is a key, and then if you are sending a media file, then media is a key. And now, as you can see, that we are interested only in the string part of it. I am not interested in this XML, as XML is something that the developer understands, but normal people who are not developers and who have nothing to do with programming don't understand the XML format. So we want strings that everyone can read English, everyone can see strings. So that is what we want. So that is why we just search for the key body, and that is how we were simplifying things. It is just, this API is just is just present there so that you don't have to deal with the XML. Just so that there are string messages. That is why we have this API that is helping us in sending human readable response. And then the next step is, all you have to do is run your application. So you just have to do python app.py. So now your application will start running. Any doubts so far?
There's one question only, and someone's asking if there's a bot, how they can create a bot using voice. Is there any specific API for that? So it's not exactly related to the.
Okay, voice API, I mean, you can search. I think Twilio has voice API, but now how you can integrate that voice API with WhatsApp and all those things are something that you will have to explore on your own. The integration that I have done was just to send the text messages. I know media messages can be integrated, but that then there might be constraint based on your file size, what you are trying to send, how you are trying to send. You can even send images with it, with this current API. And with voice, I am not sure what should be the length or what should be the duration of those voice content that you are sending. But you can just check out their API and check out the media section in the API, that whether you can send this or not. Anything else?
Thank you. No other questions.
All right. So now this application, when we do python app.py, this application will just run on your laptop. But now, as I have been saying from the beginning, that WhatsApp is installed on your phone and the application is on your laptop. So now that is when your nggrok comes into play. So you have to go inside of the directory where your nggrok has got installed, and then you need to do /ngrok http 5000. 5000 is the port number, and we need 5000 because your Flask application is also running on port 5000. So that is when you run your ngrok. And now you would practically be having two terminals open. One terminal would be basically where your Python application is running. Next terminal would be your ngrok terminal, and on this ngrok terminal, we are running the ngrok, and then you need to copy this forwarding URL that you see here. Localhost is not going to work. We need to just copy this URL so that we are able to interact with the mobile phone. So you need to just copy this URL and then paste it on the Twilio sandbox. So you need to open your Twilio console. In the beginning, we created an account on Twilio. You need to go and open the Twilio WhatsApp console and then paste your forwarding URL here. As I had told you, this is not a web application. Localhost cannot be used. We need a different URL for it. URL ngrok is helping us in creating that URL. So all you have to do now is paste that forwarding URL in the text box that would be visible to you here. Select the corresponding method that we are using. So in the code we had used post method. So that is why here we are doing HTTP post. And also after the URL, you have to do / followed by the endpoint. So our endpoint was /hello world. So all of this needs to be put inside of this text box. So now the communication will take place and all the messages from WhatsApp are going to come onto this URL. Yeah. So that was how your bot is built. If you have done up till this process, you would be able to communicate with the bot. You would be able to send the messages. Your communication will happen between WhatsApp and you. But at the moment we are sending only the static response. So your bot will respond only when you send it the message as hi. Any questions here? After this, we will be discussing how you can send dynamic response and build something like the vocabulary bot that we initially saw.
Yeah, there are a couple questions. So the first question is asking, can we create more conversational bot with Twilio for some business purposes? So if you have a shop, can you create a bot for any shop?
Yeah, you can do that. So based on your idea, you can implement your idea and create a bot for it. These bots can very well be used for customer service purposes. This bot can be used for marketing purpose. You can just send SMS to your client that, okay, this is the new service that we are starting through WhatsApp. So for all these purposes, you can build your application and use the API and then do the communication with WhatsApp.
Okay, thank you. So a second question is someone is saying that they have difficulty. So I'm getting difficulty in understanding all of these things. What can I do? So if you have any sort of advice in this case.
Okay, the talk that we are doing today is not a very beginner level talk. It needs some prior understanding of the following things. So you need to know Python, you need to know a bit of Flask, and you need to know about APIs. What is an API? What is meant by methods? Why do we need API? And what is meant by request, what is meant by response, what is meant by get request call, post request call. So API 101 is a prerequisite for this talk. So once you are able to get a hang of those initial topics, then you would be able to build a bot on your own, and you would be able to figure out that why do we need certain things that are being used in this talk. And also, if you need to revise those concepts, there is a talk already uploaded on YouTube of Women Who Code Python. That is the session that I only have conducted before, where I am talking about APIs. So if APIs is an unfamiliar concept to you, knowing all those things also might help in understanding this. And if there is any specific part that is unclear to you, you can ask it and I can explain it to you again.
Yes. Okay, thank you. And one thing I want to add personally is, understanding all of these things can seem very hard at first. So I remember when I first learned how APIs work, I was very confused. So it's definitely normal, and you shouldn't let that discourage you at all. So yeah,
Right.
no other questions.
Uh, yeah. So right now we had built a very basic application, and this is the next part. So next part is, how do you send dynamic responses? And by dynamic, we mean that whenever you send any kind of message on the bot should respond with something, like what was happening in vocabulary bot. So you give it any kind, you ask it meaning of any word, it will return you some reply. So we need that kind of a setup. So for that purpose, you will need the API then acts as a data source. So some of the publicly available APIs are Google Maps API, Cat Pictures API, then there is Twitter API, Google API, GitHub API. There are lots of APIs that can be used, and there can be different purposes and use cases where you can use and send the dynamic data. And in Python, one of the ways for integrating the API is using the request library. And this request library can be integrated in a integrated like the way I have shown in this small snippet. Also, if you don't know about request and request is new to you, you can just check out the documentation of request module. It is the module that helps you in integrating the external APIs or any kind of APIs. And request.get we are doing. This is just a sample and has nothing to do with the bot. So this is just the sample form of it, that you can just fetch the data from any of the website using the API, and then you can send that response back. Request is an external module, and you will have to do pip install requests for the same. And also, if you are interested in knowing step by step that how to build a vocabulary bot, So vocabulary bot, there is a tutorial that I had done for Twilio. So if you click on the link, here is the link for the tutorial, and it step by step explains the purpose of building it, how you can build it, and what are the steps you need to follow. And at necessary places, it points you to the external resources that you can have a look to learn about those concepts. So this, yeah,
Someone is asking if you can share the link here in the chat box.
okay, I'll do that. Mm. Yeah, also, Sonal, you had asked, I think I had answered you, but I'm just saying that if there is any specific thing that you haven't understood, you can ask that also. Also, understanding topics also depends on what all previous knowledge at the moment you have. So there can be gaps in that, and there can be things that need to be learned before understanding this topic. So there is nothing that you need to worry about that you are not able to do this or something of this sort. So you, once you learn all the previous concepts, you will be able to learn this as well. And this talk is going to be uploaded on YouTube as well. So once you are prepared for it, you can then again go through this talk and learn about the same. And also, by going through the tutorial that I have written for the vocabulary bot, you can learn about it. You can, if you don't know Flask, or if anyone doesn't know Flask or wants to like learn Flask in detail, you can check the documentation. And if you are aware about the API but are not aware that what all APIs are available, so here is another link that I have that you can check to learn about the APIs. Yeah, so yeah, that was it that I had to share with you all. So if there is any questions, you want me to answer, you can ask me. And thank you.
Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions? I guess not for now. It was very interesting. Bots are always a very interesting
Yeah,
topic.
right.
And it's a very large topic as well. So there are so many types of bots you can have.
Right.
Just a final note. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Can you see me? Okay. So just wanted to say that you can give us your feedback by sending an email at python@womenwhocode.com. So if you have any sort of feedback about this event specifically, you can just shoot an email right there. And before we all leave, I just want to highlight the following. So we have some upcoming events. So on Wednesday, the 23rd of September, there is the Beginner Python Study Group. So these are sessions that are recurring and they are being hosted. And this is the third session talking about Python data types. So I believe you can watch the first two sessions. So if you're interested, make sure to watch that. And on the 28th of September, there is an event on open source contribution. You can check out the graphics for these events right here, as well as a third graphic for a third event for introducing NLP with Python. So if you're interested, make sure to follow Women Who Code and stay tuned for these events. And you can also find them on the website. So thank you. And this is where you can find us. The Python page is womenwhocode.com/Python. And that's basically it. So thank you for attending. Let me just